The hatchling was still trying to warm her body. When the last of her fire went out, she lay broken in the ruins of a forest that had once belonged to dragons. Her wings were torn open by iron-tipped arrows. A black curse mark pulsed faintly beneath her fading scales. Around her, soldiers of the crown wiped blood from their swords and laughed in relief. They had hunted her for 3 days. They had finally brought down the Ember Queen. But it was not the dying dragon that silenced them. It was the tiny creature stumbling out from beneath her shattered wing. Small, frail, one eye cloudy with silver mist. Its scales were not crimson like its mother's, but pale like ash after a fire dies. It squeaked, nudging the massive body that no longer moved. "Look at that thing," one soldier muttered. "It won't survive the night." "Good," another replied. "One less monster." The hatchling tried to breathe fire. Only a spark fell onto the dirt. The captain raised his blade. "Finish it." Before the sword could fall, a voice cut through the smoke. "Stop." The soldiers turned. A man stepped forward from the edge of the clearing. He wore no armor, no crown, no mark of war, only a long dark coat and a leather satchel filled with glass bottles and clean bandages. His hands were steady, but his eyes were not. "My name is Elias Thorne," he said quietly, "Royal Veterinarian." The captain frowned. "This is no horse or hound. Healer. Step aside." Elias walked past him. The air around the dragon mother felt heavy, sacred. He knelt beside her fallen head and touched the curse mark burned into her neck. His fingers trembled. "You didn't just kill her," he said. "You poisoned her." "She burned 2 villages," the captain snapped. Elias looked at the small hatchling pressing its face into its mother's scales. "And so you burned her child for it." The captain's silence was answer enough. The hatchling turned its silver-clouded eye toward Elias. It hissed weakly, trying to stand between him and the soldiers. Its legs shook. Elias slowly removed his coat and placed it around the trembling creature. "It's coming with me," he said. A soldier laughed. "It'll die before sunrise." "Then it will die warm," Elias replied. The captain grabbed his arm. "If you take it, you answer for it. When it grows and kills, its blood will be on your hands." Elias lifted the hatchling into his arms. It weighed less than a newborn calf. "If it grows and kills," he said softly, "that blood will be on yours." He walked away, without looking back. The hatchling did not fight. It simply curled into the warmth of his coat and went still. Elias lived beyond the city walls, where soldiers rarely wandered. His cottage was small, cluttered with herbs and salves, shelves lined with remedies for creatures that could not speak for themselves. The hatchling did not eat for 2 days. It lay beside the hearth, watching him with suspicion and exhaustion. On the 3rd night, its breathing grew shallow. Elias knelt beside it. "Don't leave," he whispered. "Not after surviving that." He fed it milk mixed with crushed emberroot, drop by drop. He cleaned the arrow cuts hidden beneath its wings. He sang softly when it shivered near dawn. Its tiny claws hooked into his sleeve. It did not let go. He named it Cinder. Weeks passed. Cinder grew stronger, but never like other dragons Elias had read about in forbidden texts. Its fire remained faint, its wings uneven. Its silver eye sometimes wept smoke instead of tears. At night, it whimpered in its sleep. Elias would sit beside it and whisper, "You are not cursed. You are surviving." Rumors spread quickly. A merchant claimed he saw smoke curling from Elias's chimney shaped like wings. A farmer swore a shadow passed over his fields at dusk. Word reached the palace. The king of Valthera had built his throne on dragon bones. He would not allow one to grow in secret. Soldiers came at midnight. Cinder sensed them before Elias did. It stood between him and the door, small body shaking. "You can't fight them," Elias murmured. Cinder growled anyway. The door exploded inward. Steel flashed by order of the king. The commander announced, "The dragon is to be surrendered." Elias stepped forward. "It has harmed no one. It will." Cinder lunged, tiny claws scraping uselessly against armor. A blade slashed across its side. It cried out, stumbling. Elias threw himself over it. "Enough," he shouted. "It's just a child." The commander raised his sword higher. "Dragon or child," he said coldly, "it becomes the same thing." Before the blade could fall, the earth trembled. A roar echoed from the mountains. Not one, many. The soldiers froze. Cinder lifted its head weakly, silver eye glowing faintly. The commander whispered, "Impossible." Massive shapes descended from the sky, wings blocking out the moon. Dragons. They landed in a ring around the cottage. At their center stood a colossal black dragon, ancient and scarred. Its voice rolled like thunder. "You protect the Ember Queen's last blood." Elias did not move from Cinder's side. "Yes, you are human. Yes, and yet you shield it from your own kind." Elias swallowed fear, because it deserved a chance. The black dragon's gaze shifted to Cinder. The curse upon its mother binds the child's fire, weakens its soul. "Can it be broken?" Elias asked. The dragon's eyes darkened. "Yes, but a life must answer for a life." Silence fell heavy. The commander seized the moment, lunging forward with a hidden spear. It flew through the air. Cinder saw it first, with a desperate cry. It pushed Elias aside. The spear pierced its chest. Time stopped. Elias caught Cinder as it collapsed. "No," he breathed, pressing trembling hands to the wound. The dragons roared in fury. Soldiers scattered. But Elias heard nothing except Cinder's fading heartbeat. The black dragon approached slowly. "The curse can be broken," it repeated, "but only if a willing life is offered." Elias looked down at the small creature that had chosen him over survival. "Take mine," he said. Cinder's claws tightened weakly around his hand. The dragon studied him. "You understand you will die?" "Yes." He bent close to Cinder's ear. "You were never weak," he whispered. "You were only alone." The black dragon inhaled deeply. Ancient fire gathered in its throat, glowing not red but white. Elias closed his eyes. The flame struck him first. Pain unlike anything he had known tore through him, burning bone and breath and memory. Then it passed into cinder. The spear dissolved into ash. The curse mark shattered like glass. Cinder screamed not in pain, in awakening. Its body blazed with brilliant crimson light. Wings expanded, bones reshaping. Fire erupted from its mouth in a golden storm that lit the entire forest. Elias collapsed. Darkness swallowed him when he opened his eyes. He was lying on cool earth. Cinder stood above him, no longer small or broken. Its scales gleamed like sunrise, both eyes clear and fierce. It lowered its massive head gently against his chest. A warmth spread through him, steady and alive. The black dragon's voice softened. "The bond is sealed. Your lives now share one flame." Ilya sat up slowly. Cinder's mind brushed against his. Cautious, but strong. "You chose me," he smiled through tears. "I would choose you." Again, the king watched from his balcony as dawn broke over. Valthera, on the hill beyond the city, stood a man and a dragon. They did not attack. They did not roar. They stood side by side. Elias raised his voice. "You hunted what you feared," he called. "You cursed what you did not understand." Cinder unfurled its vast wings, fire shimmering along the edges, but never released. "But fear creates enemies," Elias continued. "Compassion creates allies." The city was silent, for the first time in 50 years. A dragon stood in daylight, without chains or arrows. Cinder lowered its head beside Elias. not as a weapon, but as family. The king lowered his gaze. The age of hunting ended not in blood, but in surrender. Years later, children would sit beside hearths and whisper the story of the dying dragon mother and the human who took her child. They would speak of betrayal and sacrifice, of a hatchling once called weak who carried the last flame of a queen. They would remember the man who offered his life not for glory, not for power, but for a creature the world had already condemned. And they would understand something simple and terrifying. The strongest fire is not born in rage, it is born in the moment. Someone looks at what the world has rejected and says, I will not let you face it alone.